Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. This is Robert Gabriel. Thank you so much for joining. I'll be leading today's seminar. This is my contact information. My name is Robert Gabriel. I'm President and CEO of MicroWise Technology. And just a little disclaimer, anything you learn in this seminar, you will need to verify yourself. MicroWise or any of MicroWise partners cannot be held responsible for any loss of data or revenue. This seminar is being recorded and it will be shared publicly with everybody. This is today's agenda. We're going to talk about online appointment, common medical billing mistakes. Then we're going to talk about, have our favorite partner on the call today from BillFlash. We're going to be talking about how to maximize your patient reimbursement, from how to collect the money to new ways of engaging the patient to pay you money or send into collection. Let's get started. So first is, I want to introduce to you a product that I created myself with my team that I felt there's a huge need for. It's called Rosetta. So what Rosetta does is it allows you to propose your schedule out there to the world and attract new patients to you. It's almost like open table for physicians. So what does that mean is, if I was a patient, I can log into the mobile app, or I can go to the website and either click on one of the specialty or drop down the list and see more specialty. I can type the zip code, what insurance I have, and either I'm looking for a virtual visit or a regular visit in the office. When the patient search, they will find, depending on what specialty they're looking for, they'll find all the patients that have availability. Then they can toggle between an office visit and telemedicine visit to see if there's, do you want to take an office visit or telemedicine visit? So for example, let's say this is Dr. Boyd, he's using this. I can, if this appointment is good enough for tomorrow, I can just click on tomorrow. I can log in and book that appointment. I'm not going to do that because it's a real appointment. Also, let me show you how Dr. Boyd is using it here. So if I go to Dr. Boyd's website, this is his website. On his website saying, okay, if you want to book me, click here for an appointment. That could be virtual, it could be regular office visit. And when the patient clicks on it, it takes to the Rosetta site and it will have the availability here. Now, they only get to see Dr. Boyd because they were on his website and they can navigate through the availability. Now, what I did is we made it to sync with Lytec. So when you can create your availability from Lytec, once you book a regular appointment, it will remove the availability so you don't have a duplicate. So I'm going to just show you a quick demo here on how we integrate it with Lytec.
This is Rosetta, an open table for physicians. Patients can find you based on specialty, location, or insurance, book you for in-office or telehealth visits, and review you online. Rosetta is now integrated with Lytec, so you don't have to transfer booking data manually between multiple applications, and no more double bookings for a single slot. Let's see it in action. Let's search for Dr. Tim on Rosetta. It seems like he doesn't have any availability. We are now going to create the availability from Lytec as a template. When Rosetta sees that we have created a template, it's going to make the availability. We will give the template a name and pick reason codes like follow-up and telemedicine. Change the background color. Let's choose dates and times for the availability. Now let's move to Rosetta and see if the appointment shows up. And here it is. Since we picked telemedicine as the reason code, we can see telemedicine as reason here. We will go ahead and book the appointment. We can see the appointment showing up in Rosetta. So let's move to Lytec and see if it shows up. Here it is. The Rosetta appointment has automatically synced to the Lytec software, so you don't wind up with double bookings. If you add an appointment in Lytec, it will be synced on Rosetta, so the patient on Rosetta can see the booked spot and can't double book you. You can use the Rosetta telemedicine feature for a telehealth visit, even for your Lytec appointments. Creating availability from Lytec to Rosetta makes it much easier and allows the two systems to act like one. You can use your favorite practice management software with Rosetta to attract new patients and connect with your existing patients.
All right, so any questions here? So if you want to ask questions, we have a couple ways. You can either unmute yourself and speak. That's my favorite way of doing it because I love to hear your voice. Or you can just type the question and Cam is going to help me to read the question and I'll answer it for you. Before we turn into the next topic, I just have a few questions for you to ask. So this way we have an idea who we have on the line. I have a few poll questions. The first question you see on the screen, are you a part of a practice or your billing company? Okay, so I'm going to end the poll. So I'm going to share the results. So we have an 80-20, so 80% from a practice and 20% from billing services. And I'm going to move on to the next question. There are only 3 questions. And the next question is, what version of Lytec are you using? I'm going to share the results. So we have the majority are on cloud, and we have a few people still on Lytec 2020. Okay, so we have a question that can you go through the process of entering a claim and the ERA? Yes, I will do that for you just once we finish the presentation. So every month we have, let me just show you from the website. So when you go to MikeWise, so when you get an invitation, we have the events here. So when you click on the event, it just shows you what are the topics. But at the end for Q&A, we always have extra time, and I dedicated that time for you. So if you stick around to the end, I will show you. Oh, I'm sorry. I was not sure if you were seeing what I was showing you before. Let me just show you again. When you go to the MikeWise website and you click on the event, is everybody seeing my screen going to MikeWise.com?
Yeah.
Yes.
So did you see it before or the results were showing on the screen?
The result was in the middle. I was able to close the window on my screen. I'm not sure if anyone else has done that.
Let me just show it again. So when you get the invitations or you go to MikeWise.com and you click on events, so the events, when you click on whatever event you're registering for, you will see an agenda here. And at the end of the agenda, there's always Q&A. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer at the end. Okay. So the final poll question that I have is, how much experience do you have with billing and Lytec? So I'm going to end the poll. I'm going to share the results. Oh, look like we have a mix of 50-50 between new users and veterans. Now, the next topic we're going to talk about is the common medical billing mistakes. Okay, so no matter how experienced you are in medical billing, we all can overlook certain things. We all, there's always a room for improvement. So we're going to talk about some of the top things that I can remember and be warn you about. Number one is lack of quality technology. What I mean by that is, I see a lot of practices they have, and the EMR and the billing are disconnected, where the charge captures is manual, the workflow is manual. And it depends, of course, how busy your practice is. It's always a good thing to always look for ways to improve your workflow and your communication, and also if the system that you're using is the best system or not, as far as did you outgrow it. So, for example, is adding an EMR that integrated with your Lytec, like Lytec MD, is what you're looking for, or is it better to maybe move on and upgrade to Lytec owns a Prima, which is high-end, fully integrated billing and scheduling and EMR and patient engagement tool that Lytec owns, and if this is something maybe you need to take a look at. So it's always good to evaluate and make sure that you are using the latest and the greatest. The next item is poor claim management. Do you have your codes clean? A clean code, what I mean by a clean code, that the diagnosis and the CPT code and the modifiers are all done correctly from the beginning. because it takes 5 times the effort to send a claim to be rejected and try to fix it later on. And of course, timely filing, making sure that with sending the claim, you're doing it in timely fashion. And I see some practices, or many practices, they try to send back the claims in the beginning of the year, making sure that they don't go through the embarrassment or asking Medicare patient to pay for their deductible. And it's always an embarrassing thing, and a lot of doctors, they try to dodge that. And unfortunately, many Medicare patients are switching to Advantage Medicare, which is I totally hate, and I hope you hate it too. And I hope you're encouraging all your patients not to do that. And they find out that they lost because of timely filing. So it's important to do your eligibility verification, making sure that what the patient has is what you think patient has. It doesn't mean that the patient on Medicare, that the insurance is not going to change and they will still on Medicare. You ask that patient, say you still have the same insurance, and to them it's still Medicare, but they don't understand the difference between Medicare Advantage and conventional Medicare. So of course I try to do whatever it takes to stop patient from switching to Advantage Medicare by educating them, because a lot of the commercial insurance company are brainwashing them with the Medicare Advantage and how good it's the best thing after sliced bread, and they don't know how much damaging to practices and physicians this is. So let's all voice our voice out there, telling people that not to switch to Medicare Advantage because it's not good for you. And if it's not good for you, it's not good for me either. The next thing is the denial management. So make sure that if you get denial, you want to avoid the denial from the beginning, but if you get denial, that you have the tools and you have the expertise and you have the experience to resubmission, appeal, and doing it in timely fashion, because there's a big percentage gets lost between number 2 and number 3. Sending the claim not clean, and if you get rejected, is knowing how to fix it. One of my most frustrating error that I see people are losing a lot of money on is when somebody gets rejected, they fix it, but they submit the claim and they didn't do enough changes, so they get another rejection, say duplicate claim. And a lot of people say, oh, you know what, maybe I already sent that claim, it's a duplicate claim, one of them is going to get paid. And not knowing enough that duplicate claim is you didn't make enough changes for the insurance company to treat it as a new claim, and you get a duplicate claim thinking that you already submitted it, and you lose. And a lot of people are losing in that point here. And it's very sad to see that many of physicians out there losing their hard-earned money and time and not getting paid because of insurance company are playing games and trying to trick you into messages saying duplicate claims. Okay, so very crucial to, and it's always good to have a fresh eye from the outside. You look into your data, look into your practice, look into your reports, and see if you or whoever you're trusting to do your billing is doing a good job or not. Now, of course, there's always staff that need to get additional training. What you knew 5 years ago might not be applicable today. The industry keeps changing, getting harder and harder. So it doesn't matter if it's internal staff or outside billing company. It's always good to have the latest training, the latest expertise, and it doesn't hurt to have a coach, to make sure that coach is looking into what you're doing and making sure everything you're doing is what you should be doing today. I always get coaching myself. I make sure all my staff are getting coached. So for you getting coached doesn't mean or degrades from your capability or your expertise. We can always improve every day in our life. So those are only fours, and I did write a small book, and I'm being sarcastic on how to lose your practice, your medical practice in 10 ways. And I have the book, it's totally free. Send me an email, I'll send it to you. I have it in paper format, and I also have it digital where you can get a thumbnail. So if you send me an email, I'll send you, just tell me which one you like, the digital or the thumbnail, or I can give you a link to download it from the internet. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our favorite partner from BillFlash. Jacqueline, I'm going to promote you as a presenter, then I'm not sure if you have somebody else.
Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity to be on the call today. Some of you are integrated with us already with our BillFlash statement services. The reason why we wanted to come on to this call is there are so many new features and enhancements that we have made to help you get paid faster. We have definitely implemented texting features, email features. We also have in-house collections and can process all of this. So instead of you having to remember all these different usernames and passwords, we try to find every way possible of streamlining processes and help you get paid faster. So Dasola will be spending the time today to show just a brief high-level overview of these new features. If you wanted an in-depth demo and kind of overview of what we offer, definitely either reach out to me or email sales@billflash.com, and we would be more than happy to do an individualized demo on the Lytec system and how it integrates with your platform. So go ahead and take it away, Dasola.
Thanks, Jacqueline. Hi, everyone. This is Dasola Horst with Nextrust BillFlash. I'll be going over some of our most popular features with BillFlash. So let's go over to the services portion. So this is my test account. All the patients that are on this account are just test patients. They're not real patients. So I have an account here. Some of you may already know this, but you can send the statements through mail already, but you can also send statements through an e-bill, or you can send an e-bill notification. That notification can be sent two ways. It can be sent through an email, or it can be sent through a text. I'll show you quickly what a notification by email would look like. So the top portion is something that you can fill out. So this is going to be the email that the e-bills are sent from, or e-bill notifications are sent from. So maybe the practice email address or a billing email address, and then the subject would be something like this: your statement is included, or your statement from, and then have the name of the practice on there. That way your patients know that that's a statement. And then the bottom portion of it is what your patients will actually see. So it will have the name of the practice all the way at the top. Your e-bill is now available online. Some details about the bill, but the actual statement is going to be right here. So they can click on View and Pay Bill, and it will load it. It's a secure page so that they can view an actual statement that you've sent them. And that statement is going to look exactly the same as the paper statement. So if you send them a notification or a statement through paper and then one through email, they will look the same once the patient clicks on View and Pay Bill. The other cool thing is because we are fully integrated with Lytec, your patients can make that payment by clicking here. It will direct them to the patient portal, and they can make that payment. Now, the best part of this, well, the second best part of it, because I think the best part is allowing them to pay online, and the second best part is that you can pull all of those payments over into Lytec, so you don't have to post every single one of the payments or record it twice. And then you can customize this particular template to have your office hours or any instructions, how to find the building or anything like that. You can have it here, as well as letting them know what number to call if they had any questions. And if they were to reply to this email, it would go directly to the office email that you would have put right here at the top, which is pretty neat. So that's the notification through email. And then there's also the notification through text. This is actually my favorite. So this gets delivered as a single text. It will say and then the name of the practice here. Bill for this amount is now available to view and pay, and it will give the link. And then once the patient clicks on that link, they'll be able to pay. The cool thing about this is that the texts get delivered that evening, and so hopefully most people will be done with work at that time when that text message gets delivered. And with email addresses, sometimes it can go to spam, or someone may have like a lot of emails on their inbox, or maybe they have like a junk email and that's the one that they gave to you, which is not ideal. But with text message, they get delivered straight to their phone. There's no way someone could miss a text message, but there's a way for someone to miss an email, right? Any questions so far about this service?
I have a question to say. If somebody get annoyed with a text message, can they stop it?
That's a great question. But the text will get delivered when you send a statement. So if they don't want that, then you can change the delivery method or
but if somebody opt in
for that statement.
They change their mind and they want to opt out, would they be able to like a lot of times I say to stop this, then send a 9 or something, or send a 2 if you don't want to see this, if you don't want to get. But anyway, I'm sure there is a way.
I don't believe that's an option, but the alternate way to having that removed would be to deliver that statement, because this is a statement. So it's, if someone delivers a paper statement, someone can't really say, don't send me a statement, right? So it's the same concept with the text messaging. When you send this text, and if someone doesn't want to receive it through text, then they can call the office and change the delivery preference to just paper. So these don't go out all the time. These go out only when someone uploads a batch of statements in BillFlash and they change the delivery method. So let me show you very quickly, because that's a great question. Okay, so right here it says delivery method is mail, but someone could, if they have the mobile number of a patient, they could click on text and then send that over as a text. And it can be done one time only, or it could be set as a default. And if that patient does not want to receive any notifications, they can call the office, and the office can remove that notification by text.
If the mobile number is not there and the email is not there, then you will not see email option and a text option. Got it. Very nice.
Yeah, they're not going to get delivered. Correct. And if, for whatever reason, if the practice decides the default for delivering the statements, maybe it's mail and text, but they don't have the phone number for someone, the text one is not going to get delivered. So it's only going to get delivered by paper.
Right. So if I have a patient with a large balance and I can try send them a text, and give it a try and see if I have their text number. Very nice, very smart. I like it.
Yeah, you could do that. And the phone numbers will come over. So if you have the mobile numbers in Lytec, those numbers will come over into BillFlash. Same with email addresses. So that doesn't happen with all softwares that we work with, but that's a good thing about Lytec. We're fully integrated with them, so all the necessary information will come over.
Wonderful, very nice. Thank you.
Okay, so that's as far as statement delivery goes. So it will happen through paper, through email, and through text. It could be a combination of all three, or it could be one of those. And then the payment options. So there are multiple ways a patient can pay. They can call the office, they can mail the card information to the office, or they can pay online. Let me go over get paid and initiate payments. So this is where you would be looking for a patient. So I'm going to use my test patient, Sammy, on here, but normally you could look them up by the account number, and this account number will match exactly what you have in Lytec. And if you spell the name exactly how it's in Lytec, it's going to pull up the correct patient up. So I'm just going to search for Sammy because I know that I only have one. And when I search for Sammy, I'm able to put all this information on here, so you can enter the amount. You have an option to add an internal message for your staff. This will only show on the reporting. So it will not be printed on the receipt that you give to the patient. And then you also have an option to type another message to the customer, to the patient. The three ways of receiving payment, it's going to be through card, through check, and through cash. So if you click on card and you have a card reader through us, let's assume that they are right in the office. If you have a card reader, you would be swiping that. If you don't have a card reader, you could just manually key in all that information. Another cool thing about BillFlash is that it will allow you to store a card on file. And this is HIPAA compliant, and it is secure. So storing the cards on pieces of paper, even if they are in a secure place, is not compliant. So this allows you to be compliant. And so you can store a card on file. That way you can use it in the future anytime the patient calls or comes in the office. So in this case, I've activated stored pay, which is storing a card on file for this patient, and I've set a maximum amount of $120. And this is optional, but I wanted to just illustrate how that works. So if the patient wants to set a maximum amount, you could do that. And then normally you have these three bubbles: card, check, and cash. But once you activate store pay and store someone's card on file, you will notice the fourth bubble pops up here. So it says stored pay card ending in this, right? So I'm going to choose that very quickly just so I can illustrate. So all you have to do is just enter the payment amount, choose stored pay, hit submit, and that's it. That's how you take a payment. So it's very easy and convenient when you use store pay. On the left-hand side, you have a confirmation for you and your staff. And there is an internal memo on here. So if you wrote a message for your staff, it will appear here. So you would not be printing this and handing this to the patient, but instead you would come over to the receipt options and print a receipt to them, or you can email them a receipt if you don't want to be printing anything in the office. There are two other options to take payments. There is auto pay and plan pay. So they are both similar in the sense that the payment happens automatically. So I'll go over more into detail in this. So the auto pay, it gets triggered by a statement. So if someone has enrolled in auto pay, they can set up a maximum amount that they want to get charged from their card, maybe $200, maybe $300, whatever it is. And then the moment that you send them a statement, the next day, that's when that payment gets automatically, or the balance gets paid in full, up to a cap amount, depending on if they put a cap amount there. So if their balance is $200, but they don't have a cap amount, it will pay it in full, $200, and you would not have to take a payment because the system will do it automatically, but the patient would not have to do anything either because, again, it's done automatically. If someone says a cap of $150 when you send them a statement, maybe that balance again is $200, what will happen is the system will charge that card $150 because it will pay up to the cap amount, right? So it will charge $150, and maybe the next month when you send them another statement, the balance is $50, so it will only run for $50. So it's such a wonderful tool. And then the plan pay is a payment plan. It will run automatically, but you have to tell it when to start taking these payments and how many payments do you want these payment plan to go for, and the payment amount. So if the balance was $200, the patient is willing to pay only $50 a month, and maybe they want to start in October, then you can have it set whatever day they want in October, and then it will repeat. So maybe it's October 15th, and then the next 3 months after that. So similarities are that it will run automatically. Difference is that this pays the balance in full. This one will take a set amount each month for a set number of months. Any questions about this? Okay, and I'll show you very quickly the patient portal. Okay, so this is the patient portal. It's entirely free. It's a great tool, so someone can sign up for it, and once they sign up, they can sign into their account. They'll be able to view all of their statements that you've sent to them through BillFlash. They'll be able to see what their balance is, if they've made any payments and whatnot. They'll be able to make payments, enroll in autopay. So out of all of these payment options, so store pay, auto pay, and plan pay, the patient will only be able to enroll in auto pay themselves by coming to my provider link, because the payment plan, it's a payment agreement between the practice and the patient, so it has to be set up on your end. The same thing with storing cards on file. All right, so they can enroll in this. It's free. They can view all that information, but if they don't want to enroll in anything, they just want to make a payment. Maybe they receive that text and they want to make a payment. It will be directed. They can just click on guest pay and they can enter this information. Hit continue, fill out the card information, and then hit submit. So it takes less than 5 minutes to get it done. I'm going to go ahead and just cancel that. All right, and then lastly, I want to show you how collections works. So luckily for you, when you submit the statements through Lytec, there is a way to actually qualify certain patients to be sent to collections with that regular statement file that you sent over. So you don't have to go in and create collection files per se. All you have to do is just create your regular statements, and if anyone falls within a certain criteria, it's going to automatically edit into a collections list. Okay, so I'll show you very quickly for those criteria. Okay, so for collections, one of the things that the system looks at is going to be aging. Whatever aging you put in here, it's going to be used to add someone to collections. So I've chosen 91, and then you have to add a minimum balance. The minimum amount that you can send someone to collections for is going to be $50. So if you want to do 50, you can. If you want to do 100, you can. So that's entirely up to you. And then these two, the aging and the minimum is what qualifies someone to send to collections, but the other two have to do with the collection agency and how much they collect. So the settlement terms, how much are you willing to settle? What % of that balance? So most offices will put anywhere between 70 to 80%. And then we ask you if you want to allow payment plans for someone that is in collections. So if you say yes, then the collection agency could set up a payment plan for them. That way that balance gets paid in full. Okay. So once you set these up, so the aging and the minimum, you would upload a regular statement file to BillFlash automatically through Lytec. I'm going to skip through the uploading process, and we're going to go to the approved files. And then we're going to click on Review, Edit File. Now you can make changes to this entire batch. Let me scroll a little bit. So on the left-hand side, you have the patient names, the account numbers, which match exactly what you have in Lytec, these phone numbers and emails, and date of birth. All of these are required, or at least the date of birth is absolutely required. The phone number, either one of those, and or an email, that's ideal. That way, the more ways we have or the collection agency has to contact the patient, the better. So once you have this information, that will, again, automatically be pulled over into BillFlash, and then you have the option to make changes to the statement. And if you look further to the right-hand side, you'll see that there is a collections column on here. And some of these say qualified and some of those say not qualified. What happens is when I set the filter to have a balance larger than $50, this one is 75, so it automatically, one of those criteria got checked off. And then the second one is the balance has to be older than 90 days, and that's what happened with this one, which is why this one is qualified. Same with a few of the other ones we see on here. Now, once you send them to collections, the system will typically delete their statement because it thinks that if you've already sent them multiple statements but they're not making payments, why waste money to send them another statement? But you do have the option, like I've done here, to uncheck something. So if you want to send them the last statement and add a note on that statement saying your account is now sent to collections, have that go out, and then they will receive the letter from the collection agency and phone calls. So essentially, they'll get both the statement and the notifications through the collection agency. So you have that option. And then let's take a look here. And then if there's someone in this list that maybe you don't want to send to collections, maybe, yes, they have a balance that's larger than $50, and yes, they're aging maybe even 120 days past due, but you have an agreement with them, so you don't want them going out to collections, then you have the option to click on the omit box right here. So there are two boxes, one omit and then one delete. So the omit one is similar and it works exactly the same as the delete one. This one will delete a statement versus this one will delete the option to send them to collections. So once you've made all the changes that you need to, you can scroll all the way to the top and save those changes. One of my favorite things to share with my accounts is right before you send them to collections, maybe their last statement that you sent to them, change that color. So if you're used to sending statements, having black statements, change it to red and add a note on there saying your account will be turned over to collections in 2 weeks. Give them that time, or 3 weeks. And then have that go out and see if those patients are going to call you to make a payment. I've had accounts call me saying that just by changing the color, the patient thought that they were in collection, so they called the office immediately. So, I mean, if you can do that, then great. If not, then you can send someone to collections. So that's a little tip for you there. And then lastly, I want to show you reporting. So once you're done here, you'd save changes, approve the file, and then we'll take care of it at 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll print and mail statements, and that's when these would be sent to the collection agency. So let's go to the reporting. We're going to go to Run Reports and Standard Reports. Right here, you have a reporting of all the statements that you might have sent. Right here, you have a report of all the payments. So maybe you want to run a report for all the payments today. You can hit Search. Are you able to view this portion of the screen?
No, it's not showing.
I'll just give you just a general idea what it looks like on there. So you'll see a list of all the payments that came through. You'll see the method in which it came through. So if a patient paid online, it will say online. If it was through a payment plan, it will show on that list as well. It will say plan pay. If you took a payment through store pay, it will show that, which is pretty neat. And then again, all of these payments that are recorded into BillFlash will be pulled over into Lytec. You go into Lytec and you'll be clicking on something on there to essentially pull all of the payments over for you, so you don't have to double post those. And then at that point, you can apply each payment. So that's the reporting of the payments, and then we have the collection. I have not sent anyone to collections because this is a test account with test patients. So I don't have anything on here. But just to give you an idea, so you'll have the patient names on here, the account numbers. You'll see the status, so if it's open or closed. Open means you've sent them to collections and they're still working on it, and closed means they've done collecting the money, so they've closed it. And then you'll see right here the total that you sent to collections, how much it was collected, how much you have uncollected, and the percentages. All the way to the right-hand side, this is one of my favorite things, is that you can see the history. So if you're curious about a patient in particular, maybe you have a lot, hopefully you don't have a lot of patients here, but if you do, you can filter by the ones that are active, or you can search by someone's account ID or name, and then you'll see the history. And right underneath the history, you'll see the word view, and you can click on it, and it will tell you what the collection agency has done so far. So maybe it will say mailed first letter, or made the first call, or patient decided to set up a payment plan. So all of those details will be there. And the other thing is sometimes offices will send someone to collections by mistake. It happens. It happens. And so BillFlash will allow you to remove that patient from collections. All you have to do is just pull up the patient under My Payer. And then right here, it's going to say in collections. If a patient is in collections, let's assume this one is Sammy, so it will say in collections, you'd click on it, and then you have the option to remove them from collections and let the collection agency know why you're removing them. So maybe the patient called you instead of them to make that payment. Then you'd write that down there. Maybe you sent it by mistake, so that's what you'd write there. All right, so that's all that I had planned for today. Do you have any questions for me?
Actually, I have a couple of questions. Number one, since this is, first I want to mention something that I've been getting a lot of requests over the years that they will love to send a message to patients by text to remind them to make payment. And also I get a lot of requests about collection, which is, since BillFlash already have the data, why don't I can turn it into collections much easier than dealing with an outside agency. So it's great that the BillFlash is added those two features, because they probably were very much needed. So thank you very much. The question that I have is, since this is really a hard collection, does it reflect on the patient credit score that the patient was sent to a hard collection?
That's a great question. So we don't report to the credit bureaus, but the patients don't know that. The practice knows that. If you want us to report to credit bureaus, then you'd reach out to us and we would change that. But we can't do it for one patient only. We have to do it. It has to be a setting for the entire practice. So you either want all your patients to be reported to the credit bureaus or none of them.
Okay. So the second question is, I don't know if you know the answer for it. It's related to money. So there was a percentage that you were talking about. How much settlement are you willing to do? And let's say a patient owes me $100 and I'm willing to settle for 80%. So that means I'm willing to settle for 80%. Now, what percentage does BillFlash gets on those type of collection?
So BillFlash will keep 35% of what's collected, not of the balance that's sent to collections, but what's collected.
I see. So that's the going rate for collection, art collection anyway. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. So since there's no questions, I'm going to claim the presentation again. And then I think we have a general question that came up about Lytec. Somebody wanted to learn how to do something in Lytec. So let me just...
Yes, it was for claims entering and ERAs.
So before I get into that, I just want to share my contact information. If if the questions that I'm about to answer is too elementary for you, get my direct number or my email address here. That is okay. So who asked the question, Kim?
This was from Molly Jones, and she said, "Can you walk through the process of entering a claim and ERA?" And it is for the Lytec software, Molly.
All right. So yeah, Molly dropped out already. Is there any other questions? Okay. Well, if there's no more questions, I want to thank you so much for your business. I want to thank you for the time that you took to attend today's seminar. Have a wonderful day, and please reach out to me if there's something you'd like to discuss offline. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.